Is vibe coding just a fad or something you should be using in your next project? Hi, I'm Erik. I'm a senior developer advocate at AWS, and today I want to do an experiment with you that are watching. Now, I have a personal blog that I use, but it's a little bit out of date. I want to update it with the latest and greatest. I want to use React. I want to use Tailwind CSS, and I want to use Vite, and I want to use this new vibe coding style way of creating it. I'm going to see if I can create this site just typing in prompts and have it magically be created. I think this is going to be a really fun experiment to see how well it goes. One thing I want to make sure too is that I don't go into the code and make any changes. It's all going to be just on the prompt. And if I see any errors or issues, I'm going to ask the prompt to fix it. I want to add in tests as well. I think tests would be really important to have. I want to make sure that it gets committed into its own branch and that it creates the branch and it sets that all up. And I want to make sure it has dynamic routes. So if I have a blog, that I have certain pages for each route and that it all works together. Let's jump into the code. Let's try this out. I have a brand new Vite app using React, one of my favorite front-end frameworks. And I went ahead and deleted everything from it, tabula rasa, blank slate to start. And I'm going to use my vibe coding skills to create a brand new blog. Now, one thing I want to make sure I do is I want to use Tailwind CSS. It's one of my favorite ways to add styling to an app. So I actually already, before we started here, I just followed these instructions and installed Tailwind so we can get started quickly. Now I'm in my vibe coding React folder. You can see here it's the code. So let's go ahead and get started. And the way I'm going to use this, I'm going to run qchat on the CLI, and this is going to ask me what I want to do. Basically, I'm using Amazon Q. I'll put a link in the description if you want to try this for yourself. And it gives me some options. I can do accept all if I want to kind of YOLO it and just have it accept everything. But I think for the first time here, I'm going to ask it these prompts and then hit Y as we go through it. So the clear first step is to create a prompt. And one thing I know about prompting is you have to be very explicit on what you want. So let's try that out. I think what I want to do is create a winter themed blog. So kind of those winter type colors. And then I also want to make sure that we have a about page and a front page with some information about me. So let's try this here. Please. One small tip when you're talking to large language models or AI, always be polite because you never know. Okay, I'm just kidding there. But, let's see if this being polite helps. So please create a blog using React and Tailwind CSS 4. Include a bio page and a front page with pictures. Use placeholders for the pictures. Use a winter theme. Okay, so I gave it some parameters of what I wanted to do. It was this React, Tailwind CSS 4, a blog, and now it's going to read the directory, and let's see how it goes here. Okay, so the first thing it's doing, it's actually asking me if I want to install Tailwind CSS. I already have Tailwind CSS 4 installed with Vite. It's like a plugin for Vite. So I'm just going to hit no here and just let it know that I already have this installed. So it'll continue on here. It's like, great, everything's fine. Let's see how it goes. All right, so it looks like the first thing it's doing is it's adding some information to our index.css, some styles. So yeah, we're just going to say Y to all this. Okay, so it looks like it finished here. Oh, this is pretty neat. Looks like it added like a snow effect to it. Here's my blog posts. They both have little artwork. I guess these could be pictures that we could add in later to each one of these. We have a featured post. We have a bio page, which once again, this would probably be a picture that we can add in later. I definitely think this is very, very nice. This was just this one prompt. I didn't add any additional prompts. I even have like a nice contact page. I even have links at the bottom. I have this really nice footer on every page. I have this home. If we come and open it up a little bit, looks like it's responsive, which is great. Yeah, it looks like it's a responsive website. If I hit read full article, obviously this isn't in place. I wonder if we can get it to like create dynamic routes for us to actually go to each one of these places. Even added a little SVG graphics in here. So let's ask it again. And it's asking if we want to run npm run dev. I'm going to say no, the site is already running. Okay, so now it gives me a detailed explanation of what it did and all the different React components it created and some of the features. One thing I want to do is I want to make sure that we can roll back and we can change this. And so I want to add this to a Git repository. So let's ask it to do that. Can you add this to a Git branch? Let's call it a Git branch called winter. And commit it. All right, so it should now try to take everything it's done and put it into its own Git branch without having me to type all this. Okay, so it realized, by the way, when I said to create this Git branch, that Git isn't initialized, so it's going to initialize it for me. So it created this empty repository. And now it's going to check out the winter branch that I want, and it should commit all the code. It's going to add it first. Look, it even added in a nice Git message, a Git commit message, create winter themed blog with React and Tailwind CSS. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, it committed everything as I expected. Now, this is good because if I have any issues, I can roll back. And you can run git status, and you can see I'm on the branch winter. Perfect. All right, so let's see if we can add in a dynamic route so we can have each individual page be its own blog. Can you update this blog to have dynamic routes and have a page for each blog post? Now, it already installed React Router, so I want to see if it's able to see the React Router and do all that code for me without having to install any more packages. Let's see how this goes. And while it's thinking, let's take a look at the code real quickly. So if we look at the code, we have a pages folder, which are bio page, and our home page, which is really nice. That's our home page, bio page. So it would be nice to see if it can try to create a dynamic route and see how that goes. And like I said, it installed React Router, so this shouldn't be too much more work. Okay, it's done. I hit Y a bunch of times, and it looks like it made all the changes. So let's see what it did. It said it added the dynamic routing. It added also this new blog post.ts file. So it added in some data. So obviously, if this was like a real production, we'd want to find a way that we can just easily add blog posts, probably add it with Markdown. But I think this is a good start. It also did some Git management for me and committed the changes. So let's take a look. So if I go back to bio, home, nothing's changed there. If I read full article, cool. So now you can see here, this is a dynamic route. This is called the Magic of Northern Lights. Probably would want to add in some Markdown here, make it look a little nicer, but you can see this is really nice. Even added in this like share this post so I can share it on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. Let's see if I click on it. Looks like they don't work, like these links don't work, but I'm sure I could like connect it up to some place so they actually do share, or I could ask that. Also, the nice featured image has a link back to the homepage. If I click on it, yeah, all these are working. And I think this data is just in a file. So let me take a look. If I come back to my VS Code here and I bring up my sidebar, let me see if I'm in data. Okay, so here is where the data is for these. So let's see if we look for the photography. Here's the photography tips. Let's see if I made this 101 and save it. Okay, cool. So it's pulling it all from this file. And like I said, this is probably fine for just some simple blog posts. But if we wanted to do this in production, we'd probably want to add Markdown, or we might want to have some CMS or some other systems that we can pull this blog post. But I think this is pretty impressive just for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes I've been playing around with it here. I have this fully interactive site. Let's try one more thing. I think I could probably spend hours just like adding more features and going through this. And it's really powerful that I've been able to add this so quickly. Let me ask it to create tests. So one thing as a software developer, I know that happens a lot is you get into a site, you create something fun like this, and then you make changes and you break it and you don't know how you broke it. So if we create some tests, I think we can make sure that if we go in later and make changes, that we don't break the whole site. And I prefer test utils. So let's use the Vite test and test utils to do it. But I'm going to let Amazon Q CLI decide what testing utils I want to use. I'm just going to be very generic. I'm going to ask it, can you add some basic tests for each page? So let's see what it comes up with. And one extra nice thing about this is that I can have, after I add this prompt in and it creates all these tests, and it looks like it's already asking to install the testing library. That's what I would do in this situation. It's a great library to do testing with React apps, and also just DOM and vtest. So I think this all makes sense. So I'm gonna hit Y and we'll see what kind of tests it makes. Okay, so moment of truth. I hit Y a bunch of times. Looks like it created all the tests, and all the tests pass in the first try, which is awesome. I've actually seen this before where sometimes the tests that it creates doesn't pass, and it'll go through a number of times to fix them all. But it looks like this time it actually fixed them. It actually ran and they all passed on the first try, which is really nice. And here it is just telling us all the things it did between the mocking, the test results, and it also committed the changes. So thank you once again to our Amazon Q CLI. So this is awesome. I think overall, I'm pretty impressed with this kind of vibe coding way of doing things. It created a very simple blog, but it added in a lot of little details and features that I probably wouldn't have thought of in the first time of doing this, like adding in the social shares, adding in this nice effect of this snow flakes falling. I think I could probably even tell it to make it more pronounced. I think the white snowflakes you can see at the top here are kind of blending into the background, but still like little nice touches that it adds that I'm really impressed with. And then now, since we have tests, we can use those tests and add to those tests. We could, every time we have the Amazon QCLI make another change, we can also have it test after it's done with the change to make sure it didn't break anything else. I think this is really powerful. As you get into more and more complicated apps, I'm assuming you probably would have to have some knowledge of the front end to be able to really be able to do what you want to do, or some at least general knowledge of software development. But I think this is going to open up the way for a lot of people to really deep dive in and create things that they wouldn't have been able to create before. I put some links in the description if you want to check out some more information about Amazon QCLI and how to get started. Thanks.